And here we are back again with our second part to Upper BlightTown as we go on a quest to find the bonfire and find a little bit of sanctuary in this decrepit land. And there I am, accidentally consuming purple moss like a potato. Oh my god, I swear to god, one of the things I hate about Dark Souls is every time I'm going to a new area and I'm trying to find the bonfire, or pretty much where I'm lost, I die, and next thing you know, the start point is somewhere far away from where I'm trying to get to. And I have to go through that long process of having to travel all the way over there. Same thing I did with Lost Isolith. I mean, having to run all the way to the bed of chaos and, you know, dying, running all the way there. I swear to god, if it wasn't for this, you know, video editing program, which by the way, I'm actually using a pretty bootleg video editing program. And if you guessed it was Windows Movie Maker, then you're right. I'm actually using Windows Movie Maker. And I'm actually in the process of setting up some money on the side so that way I can invest in better editing software. I'm thinking about getting maybe Sony Vegas Suite 13 Platinum. You know, that way I have a bunch of tools, edit sound, video, add effects, all that neat stuff. And I don't know about getting Squidward. Let's see if this will get him. Nah, it won't attack him. It looks like the only way that you can really get this guy is from hitting him in the butthole. No worries. We just head on up over here. And I love the level design. I mean, when you pan the camera up, you get to see, I believe it's Undead Berg, is it? We finally got this toxic guy. And here's this guy. He is the inbred shaman. Or shaman, I would say. He's like the witch doctor. Killed his ass. Cut these up. In this area, I like to basically, you know, hit all the jars, all those pieces right there, just because they get in the way. So if I want to drop down somewhere, it might end up dropping me down somewhere that will lead to my death. That's something I do not want. And here's another area that I haven't been before, and I believe it's right above the place with that weird obstacle course that I had to go through, where my hands were sweating like crazy because I was afraid of falling. Sometimes I'm just so into the game that my fear of heights just take effect. Oh, there's a ladder here. Okay. Put it on. Finally, a ladder. Oh, and there's Krusty Krabs. Boom! Right in the butthole. And he's down. And here we get Power Within. Oh, yes, Power Within. Now, for those of you who never knew about this place, never been to this area, and don't have the pyromancy, basically Power Within is a pyromancy spell. And what it does is it slowly drains your health in exchange for stronger attacks. Now, I don't know, you know, how much life it drains per second, simply because I guess, you know, like every 3 months they would release a patch either trying to nerf or buff certain sorceries, certain pyromancies. But back in the day, if you had a level 1 pyromancy flame hand, right, your life wouldn't drain so much. But so far from what I've read with the new patches, basically it doesn't matter, you know, what level your pyromancy hand is, your life will pretty much drain at a steady rate, you know, at one specific rate. Unfortunately, I don't know, you know, basically how many hit points per second or what percentage of your hit points would it drain out every second. but I'll get some more attunement slots and I'll have it equipped and I'll show later on and see whether or not there's actually a big difference in regards to dealing damage. Okay. Now here's the tricky part. It's just, you know, moving around, getting to where you need to go. And here we have the hard dog again. Where's the other hard dog? Oh shit, I was hoping to fall. And just when I wanted to kick him off, he ends up attacking. For those of you who are not aware, in my previous video I talked about how my controller, for some reason, I guess the sensitivity or something about it, sometimes when I want to attack, basically do a slash attack, I end up kicking, and it puts me in a very tight spot. And here we are. We finally have the bonfire. Something that we've been looking for. Something that we're trying to get to for quite a while. As a matter of fact, for, I believe, fucking 41 minutes. It's been quite some time. And finally, we have the bonfire. And we have these nice little passages over here. And here we are with the shaman, and I'm getting raped. And boom! One slash, and they're down. All I need is one shot, and that's it. I guess it's kind of like the Nos thing. It's like, all I need is one mic. All I need is one shot. Okay, and the blooming moss. Blooming moss, for those of you who are not aware, basically it ends up getting rid of the effect of toxin or toxic damage. It's been quite some time since I played the game, and I died from toxic damage simply because I didn't know how fast, you know, toxic actually drains your HP. Now when you're here, you want to be careful because your character doesn't move along with the platform, so be very careful of that. Make sure that you kind of move around and stay at the center of the moving platform. There's a dog there. And I'm wondering if the dog that didn't appear before I went to, you know, the bonfire ended up just jumping down there. Actually, no, wait, yeah. If I hit the bonfire, the enemies actually reset, their positions reset. That's right. I keep forgetting that. I mean, I know that they respawn, but I didn't know that if characters, if they leave their posts, you know, end up going back to their posts. It's like you know in the back of your mind, but sometimes you forget. You end up asking yourself, like, these dumb questions. What's here? Is there, like, anything here? Okay, got that. Oh, nice. Humanity. Now, who could this have been? Could it be one of those inbred cannibal dudes before they went all potato? And so they had a little bit of humanity left, and when they died, they left a piece behind? Who knows? That's what's really strange about the lore of this game. Especially with BlightTown. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is BlightTown. We gotta do a little bit of reading, I guess, with BlightTown. See, you know, what's the story behind it? You know, why BlightTown exists, and all that creepy stuff, I guess, after this. Like, one of the things I want to find out is, what are those inbred looking things? Like, what are they doing there? And how did this town come about? Who was this grand architect who said, or city planner that said, oh, let's build this shitty looking town in a place surrounded by turd and toxin? I take the homeward bone back, and here we are again at the bonfire. Oh man, I look so aesthetic. And if you haven't noticed, there's actually been some improved visual quality on the new gameplay videos, and that's because I am now capturing gameplay at over 5,000 bits per second, or kbits per second. So clear images. Is just that with capture, I guess, you know, capturing with anything, any place that's like really dark or has a lot of red tends to distort the image, especially in if you're trying to capture something and the movement speed is like really fast. I'm guessing if you're playing some type of spaceship game where things are just going all over the place. Oh, and there we go. We have the shadow set, by the way. So yeah, there's just a bunch of movement going around. I mean, everything's like fast-paced. Everything's just moving around like crazy. There's gonna be a little bit of blur, so that's expected. But little by little, the image quality is improving, and later on in the future with other playthroughs, I'll be able to upload videos at 1080p. I did so with the Artorias of the Abyss video, but it just didn't come out so good. It was really blurry, and it really sucked because, I mean, it sucked, you know, because you didn't get like a really good visual experience from watching the video. Although the gameplay, I mean, it was tense. I mean, my palms were sweating as I was playing that part because Artorias just kept coming after me, and I recorded that piece like after dying, I think about 12 or 15 times, and it was just absolutely nuts. I was like, oh my god, like I was about to like throw my controller out the window. Except that it wouldn't do much good. Like, it wouldn't really do much harm to the controller because I have a screen on my window. You know, it'd probably be funny, you know, like I throw the controller in a fit of rage, hits the fucking screen, bounces right back and hits me in the face. Oh yeah. That would be funny. And it'd be cool to actually capture that, you know, like have a webcam and have like a little piece of me actually playing the game, you know, like have webcam footage of me playing the game on the corner or something like that. But funds are pretty tight right now, but luckily I got a job. I actually got a new job. I've been looking for a job for quite some time, and I ended up applying at a local pizza place called Marcelo's Pizza, and I'm working as a delivery driver, and it's actually some pretty decent money, especially for something that's part-time. Meanwhile, I'm going to school. I am going to the University of Cal Poly Pomona, California State Polytechnical University of California in Pomona, and I'm studying business administration, and I'll be getting my Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration, Management, and Human Resources with a focus on entrepreneurship and small business management. So I'm really excited. I'll be graduating this year if I get my internship this summer. And I'm just looking forward to, you know, having some money set aside by the time I graduate and start my own business. And which is why funds are kind of tight right now, just because books are expensive, just a bunch of stuff are expensive. I mean, gas is expensive. So finally having a job that pays pretty decent, it just depends on the day. Some days, you know, I would not make that great of tips, and some days I do. For instance, last night I made about $30 in tips, and I only went to 6 deliveries. There were a few deliveries where I got stiffed and didn't get much of a tip. I think one person didn't pay me a tip, and then another person paid me 13 cents for a tip. But I'm not really complaining. You know, I don't have anything against people who don't tip, or don't tip as much, or don't tip quote unquote well, because, you know, who am I to judge? I mean, who am I to judge, you know? I see a lot of people who are in service-based jobs, you know, where part of their income, you know, depends on tips, And people make a big deal out of it, like, oh, this guy only gave me 10%. Oh, this guy only gave me 5%. You know, and I got a 13-cent tip. And if looking at the bill, you know, the amount due, that 13 cent was actually no more than 1% of what the person paid for his food was. You know, the tab. That was actually less than 1% of the tab that the guy had with his delivery. And I didn't hold it against him. At first I was kind of like, oh wow, 13 cents? Like, this is my first tiny little tip, you know? But I wasn't upset. It's like, you know, I had the same attitude as I had with all the other customers. You know, I say thank you, have a good night, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Never change my tone, none of that stuff, because if you do, then if you try to act like a smug asshole, they'll not come back. And basically, their business is what got you a job, you know. Their business is what actually puts food on your table. So even though if you don't get a nice tip, or even if you don't get a tip, that person's business is making sure that you actually have a job. So I never, ever, ever get pissed off at people who don't tip. But if you do tip, it's greatly appreciated, because whatever I do get in tips, I do save. And I'm hoping to start a business with that. And because my dog, he needs to go to the vet. I need to pay for some vet expenses. So it's good that I actually got a job that pays tips. I'm hoping during summertime I could get another job, meanwhile going to an internship and working delivery job. So probably having 3 jobs, I'd probably go nuts. But I'll try to see if I can manage it. If not, then basically do my internship and work at the pizza place, and, you know, do my internship course at school. Well, that's pretty much 3 jobs, but who knows, maybe 4 jobs. My dad said that he had 4 jobs, and he was able to manage that. So if he can do it, who knows, maybe I can do it. But then sometimes, I'll tell you one thing though, Middle Eastern parents, Middle Eastern family members, they tend to exaggerate things, especially about things that they've done in the heyday. Oh, I used to do this, I used to do that. I was an aerospace engineer. I am the founder of NASA. I landed on Saturn before everybody else. You know? Like, they exaggerate. And then when you start asking around, you know, oh shit, oh fuck. Almost died there. Holy shit, that was awesome. And then you really find out it's like, this guy worked at John's Market, you know. Like, yeah, engineer of NASA. Aerospace engineer of my ass. But I'm not saying my dad, you know, I'm not trying to insult my dad. You know, it's just me joking around. But no, my dad was actually a pretty damn hard worker. He would juggle around 2 jobs. There was a point where he couldn't even make rent, and he got evicted. And he ended up having me stay at my grandparents' house. Meanwhile, he stayed at a girlfriend's house because he got kicked out. There was even a time where he slept at a park. So times were tough, and he was a hard worker. And to basically go from that to, you know, being in a really nice house in a really nice area, I mean, I have a lot of respect for my dad. He has very, very strong work ethic. Even at, dude, he's like in his late 40s, and this guy, like, I swear to God, he could kick my ass. He may not lift, he may not be as buff and strong as he used to be, but I swear to God, like, this guy is made of steel. He's just this solid bone, dude, just freaking, you know, I don't know, like, I swear to God, if you punch me, like, really punch me, probably break some shit. I mean, he's just built. He's got a very, very solid base. And it's just too bad that he stopped working out, you know. And that's probably because of what I did to him when I was a kid. I ended up messing up his back. I ended up doing a big ass elbow drop on him when we were playing wrestling, you know, playing WWF. And I think my dad was Jake the Snake, and I was Iron Sheik. No, actually, no. My dad was the Iron Sheik, and I was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And I went in for an elbow, and boom, landed on his back. And he was in pain. He was like, oh my god. Oh. And I was thinking my dad was just playing around, right? I thought he was just, you know, playing around and, you know, just, you know, playing along type of thing. And next thing, you know, it's like he's there for like 2 hours. I'm like, man, this guy's a really good actor. Only to come to find out that he was actually in a massive amount of pain. Like, he couldn't stand up. And so he's pretty much got back pain permanently, and he's unable to go to the gym and do heavy lifting as he used to. And we have the iaito right there. Very good sword. A dex-based sword. Deals bleeding damage right there. So yeah, and that's what happened with my pops. And you know, I regret doing that. You know, if I had a time, if I had a time machine, if I could go back to my 7-year-old self, and I'd probably whip my ass. You know, like grab me by my head and throw me across the room right before I would even land on my dad's back. So for any of you, aerospace engineer, time traveling engineer, please make a time machine so I could go back. So that way my dad can actually live a life without having to deal with back pain. And that way he can be aesthetic again. Do his bodybuilding thing that he used to do. And I have to get back in the gym too. I'm out of shape. God damn. When I first started going to the gym, I was in high school, I only weighed like 135 pounds. Trained for 5 years on and off, didn't gain shit because I didn't know what I was doing. My diet was horrible. I thought all I needed for diet was a protein shake, some cup of noodles, and McDonald's, and I'm good. And I didn't make any gains. I had no concept of higher volume, progressive overload, any of that type of stuff. You know, it was just absolutely horrible. And it wasn't until, you know, I think my 6th or 7th year when I moved to Corona, and I just started making huge gains because I had people helping me out with my training and helping me out with my diet and doing a little bit more research and teaching myself. And I went from 135 pounds to 200 pounds. You know, I grew like a weed, and like my biggest strong point were my arms. My arms just grew insane. Like, I got 18-inch arms. Naturally. 18-inch arms, you know, not taking any steroids, none of that shit. And I hardly ever trained them. I hardly ever trained my arms. I would train them maybe once every 2 weeks. My biceps were freaking huge. I had the hugest peak, great fullness. I mean, my freaking, you know, my triceps were just enormous. If you go into my videos on my YouTube page and you search, it's all Photoshop. It's basically me posing a video. That way, you know, I'm not using any type of photo tricks, any of that stuff to make myself look big. It's just me right there. I mean, people typically look smaller when on video, so I put that video up, and I look pretty big there. You know, for a natural guy, I look pretty big there, especially for an ecto. Ecto, basically, small structured dude. So yeah, check out that video. And we're almost at the end. We're basically gonna drop down here, do a little bit of kamikaze. No. Let's go down here. Take the ladder. And then we're just gonna slide down. Right there. There we go. Toxic buildup. And I don't... do I have my iron ring? That doesn't even matter, because I'm already at the bonfire. So we'll continue this off, and we're going to Duke's Archive on the next playthrough. So stick around.